horrible start.
They're off and racing. Came out in a nice line.
Both go to be tested.
As Monster Vigorous and Papyon mixing up on the front end. Right, it's Papyon in front of Monster Vigorous. Coming down on the outside, that's Successful Man. They're 3 lengths away before we come to Valley of Love. Then comes a Security Code, and racing at the back of the field, that's Solace. They head toward the 5, and it is Successful Man and Papyon. These two glued together going toward the 4. They're about 3 lengths in front of Monster Vigorous racing in third. Then comes a Valley of Love. Just behind that one, we find Security Code, and still racing at the back of the field, that's Solace. They leave the 4 and head toward the 3, and Papyon now makes his intention clear. Papyon kicks away by 4 lengths. Successful Man is not answering that one. Coming on the inside and coming around, that's Monster Vigorous. Papyon in front. Monster Vigorous is looking and coming forward encouragingly. It's Papyon still in front. Monster Vigorous is really traveling nicely on the outside. Papyon still in front with a lot in hand, coming to the top of the lane. It's Papyon in front. Monster Vigorous is trying to come on. Also coming on the inside, that's Valley of Love. It is Papyon still in front. Monster Vigorous still pestering, coming to the furlong pole. Papyon in front, and Papyon trying to get away from Monster Vigorous, who is still niggling. It's Papyon in front. Monster Vigorous is still chasing in second, but Papyon has done enough with the champion jockey, Radish the Seeky Fox Roman. Papyon beats Monster Vigorous. Then comes Valley of Love. Solace runs on to be 4th.
Honor Prince wasn't disgraced after a very bad start.
They're off for the dash. Honor Prince staggers out at the back, giving away several lengths as leaders now go dashing past the 5. American Aviator going for that lead. Rico right alongside. They're tied together in a knot as they make their way now toward the final half of a mile, and now American Aviator flies away and gets that lead by some 4 lengths, opening up all the time as they leave the 7/16. Rico in chase. My Eclipse races on the outside of Princess Chris, a gap of 4 lengths back to Honor Prince, now moving ahead of the trailer. That's Mighty Gully as they leave the 5/16th, about to come into the lane, and American Aviator on the tender handling has that lead. A huge 1-2 at the top of the lane. It's American Aviator and Robert Halladine leading up. Rico needs to find maybe 4. My Eclipse getting the stick toward the outside, but it is American Aviator continuing to hold the advantage, and now Halladine calls for the right-hand stick as Rico begins to bear down on the outside. It's American Aviator with the lead. Rico, the danger, but no more. American Aviator comes away to win by maybe 3 over. Rico, then My Eclipse and Honor Prince 4th.
Dodge's Link had a rough start.
They're off. Dodge This Link has an awful beginning left at the back. Cappuccino gets off quickly, saddle chasing, best daughter-in-law on the outside of Unruly Dude. Special Gift races next. John P. asked to make progress widest of them all as they leave the half-mile marker. Behind those, toward the outside, a Rusty making up some ground as they charge away now toward the final 3. Turn on the Light races up with that bunch. A break back to King Air left out of it. Sticky Don races up next, then Duke of Springs and Dodge This Link now beginning to recover as they have turned for home. It is Special Gift out in front. Best Daughter-in-Law now traveling well on the outside. These two battling for it. Cappuccino is near the rail. Turn on the Light right against it. Rusty races with that group, but it is Special Gift opening up a bit. Special Gift, a crack or 2 of the right-hand stick. Cappuccino trying to close up. Here is Unruly Dude now beginning to fly late. Special Gift driven flat to the boards. Unruly Dude sprouting wings in the end. It's close. Could be Unruly Dude. Close between Special Gift and Cappuccino.
Even though Fearless Force missed the break and was hindered at the start, was hindered by Warsaw when Warsaw hit the rail in the stretch and won impressively. One to watch next time in town, improving rapidly.
They're off. Fair start. Fearless Force just misses it, left at the back. Mack and Rome shows good speed, so too Warsaw down against the rail. These two battling for it. Prince Saman right there, a close-up third. Magnificent Force rushing up, and these four in a tight cluster. Allegiance watches them just about 4 lengths off that lead. Fearless Force now beginning to recover, and Riches to Rags races at the back. But they're all in with a chance as they leave the half mile, and the split should increase. And Mack and Rome now moves away by a length. Warsaw right there running fast on the rail, and these two now eye to eye as they approach the 3. Magnificent Force needs to find 3 with Prince Saman. Allegiance needs to find maybe 6. Fearless Force is in behind a further 2 lengths back, and the trailing the field remains. Or Riches to Rags as they come thundering into the top of the lane. Mack and Rome in the green silks just the leader. Warsaw down against the rail, but had to be switched as Mack and Rome dive down toward the fence, but they run toward the furlong pole. It is Mack and Rome in the green silks continuing to lead. Fearless Force now trying to close upon the rail. Allegiance is kicking in on the outside, but it is Mack and Rome with the advantage from Fearless Force and Allegiance. Mack and Rome beginning to tie up. Here is Fearless Force kicking in Mack and Rome, and Fearless Force just does it over Mack and Rome. Allegiance is third, close between Riches to Rags.
Mr. Senator finished strong after a poor start.
They're off for the Billy Williams. Mr. Senator, Madeline Sunshine, they came out beat slow. Banadura now grabs an early lead. Supremacy racing down the outside of Get a Pepsi now, who moves up to challenge Banadura for that lead as they lead the 6. Supremacy kept just off those splits. Madeline Sunshine beginning to motor on the rail. California Gold is just in behind them. Stomp the Rhythm out wide. 5 lengths separates that group of horses as they go flashing past the 5. Mr. Senator races second from the back and further and beyond just last. About to arrive at the half mile in the Allen Billy Williams Memorial. Get a Pepsi and Banadura, they exchange blows. On the rail, that's Madeline Sunshine. Supremacy waiting in between horses. California Gold in the green racing out wide. Stomp the Rhythm has gotten a bit closer with further and beyond. And Mr. Senator now beginning to tail off as they go flashing past the 3 and make their way now toward the 7/16th. It's a Get a Pepsi down near the rail. Banadura right alongside. They come into that lane. Supremacy is in between horses. Madeline Sunshine is down against the rail, but they drive inside the final 3/16th. Get a Pepsi with the lead. Supremacy taken off the fence. Further and beyond now begins to roll on the outside. It's a Get a Pepsi. Supremacy now trying to challenge Get a Pepsi with that lead. Supremacy now beginning to edge closer. A 16th to run. It is Get a Pepsi. Here is Supremacy now moving well on the outside. But Get a Pepsi looks to have won it over Supremacy. Then further and beyond, Mr. Senator.
Both of Passad's horse had poor starts, but paying more attention to Roaring Kitty, who stayed on strong at the end.
They're off on racing. Breaking sharply in the middle as Uncle Harry giving all sorts of problems and has given away a lot of lengths. Over on the far side, that is a Reportable Offense and Cost of Living. They are going at it. Just behind them, that's Giant Vigorous. Then comes Slam Sharp. Prince Kazir follows through. Right on the rail, that's Pea's Head. Then comes Roaring Kitty. Right against the rail, Nebuchadnezzar. Mark My Identity. And the slow starting Uncle Harry. They head towards the 4 furlong point, and it is Cost of Living, just the leader from racing contently in second. That is Reportable Offense. Slam Sharp follows them, coming against on the rail. That is Giant Vigorous, just behind them, and coming on to that's Pea's Head, making ground on the outside. Prince Kazir, then comes Mark My Identity, Roaring Kitty, followed through by Nebuchadnezzar, and still never in it. That's Uncle Harry there at the top of the lane. And Cost of Living kicks away from Reportable Offense. Coming once again, Cost of Living having them off their leg. Reportable Offense coming on, coming out wide too. That is Mark My Identity. It is Cost of Living in front. Mark My Identity bearing down, and Cost of Living still has a 3-length lead. It's Cost of Living in front. Mark My Identity keeps on coming. Cost of Living trying to get rid of Mark My Identity, and Mark My Identity goes on to beat Cost of Living. Then comes Roaring Kitty, Pea's Head, and the Reportable Offense back in 5th.
After a flying start, Double the Cash was hindered in the stretch.
For the 7th. They're off. Fair start, Double the Cash. got a good one, goes for that lead. Better than COVID and Empress in the Breeze. These three in a tight grouping. As they run away now toward the half mile, they're almost there. She Who Has No Name races down into fourth spot. A Money Must is the one running the rail, blinding light invisible on the outside of horses, and the last hurrah is last as they come inside the final 3 furlongs. A Money Must battling for that lead. Better than COVID left a length back on the outside and running wide. Double the Cash races up next. Blinding Light asked to kick in with Empress in the Breeze. She Who Has No Name races second from the back, and last hurrah is last, but the grey Money Must has now picked up that lead. Better than COVID now asked to close the gap. Double the Cash looking for room down against the fence. Empress in the Breeze, the favourite, is racing out wide, but it is Money Must inside the final furlong under a vigorous ride. Double the Cash now switched and asked to take aim. Empress in the Breeze on the outside. Money Must driven flat to the boards. It is Money Must hanging tough from Double the Cash. Money Must beats Double the Cash, Empress in the Breeze, and last hurrah.
Matuso got bounced about.
They're off and racing. Brinks break smartly right in the dead center of the track. Closest to us, that Stormer come. Ella Fortunato is right there too. Also in the mix in the middle, that is Restoration running true and strong. Over on the far side and tacking across a bit, that is Phoenix Risen. So Phoenix Risen, Restoration right there too. That is Eagle One. Also coming on Stormer come right in the middle. That is Brinks also in the mix. Also coming on, that's Ella Fortunata, but Restoration looks to have them off their legs. Also coming on the right beside Restoration, that's Eagle One. Eagle One and Restoration matching stride. They're out to the chute and coming to the furlong pole. Restoration, Eagle One. This will be decided. Restoration, Eagle One just with the advantage. Restoration trying to fight back, but Eagle One looks to be, has this one. Matusa come running on late breast. It's Eagle One in front of Matusa. Restoration. Then comes a Stormer come. Brompton Alex runs on to be fifth.